Linares is good. I've just come to believe that he's not special. And even HBO was saying that, he just never goes to that next level. I mean, yeah, obviously, these highlights look good, and he does show flashes of greatness. But when I match him up against Mikey Garcia and Vasil Lomachenko, the guys that he says he wants, for example, he said that he wants Lomachenko at 135 and Mikey Garcia at 140, saying he wants Lomachenko first. And Bob Arum has been basically addressing it, saying, like, listen, it can happen. But I just don't know. He is a unified champion. Mercito Gesta, did give him tough work. And I did think that Gesta did have what it takes to possibly get the upset. But, it's just something missing. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. He is 44-3-0 with 27 KOs. Now, these are his last several fights. Mercito Gesta, Luke Campbell, in which he needed the last round to win, in my opinion, and I heard Jim Lampley say it on the card when I watched it. They're talking about him versus Luke Campbell again in the early spring or summer if the Mikey Garcia fight doesn't happen. And this would be a big fight overseas. And he already has a following. Hold on. Oh, my bad. It's my lord. He already has a following over there, meaning Jorge Linares. And if I'm correct, he lives over there. So he had Luke Campbell, 2 fights with Anthony Crowley. Then he had the Kevin Mitchell fight. Those are 3 fights, right? There were 4 fights against UK fighters. And fighting Luke Campbell again over there is always a good, safe go-to fight if he can't get Mikey Garcia or if he can't get Lomachenko. Now, Mikey Garcia is fighting Sergey Lempinets on March the 10th. Mikey Garcia informed the WBC that he plans on fighting Jorge Linares in the summer, likely in May or so. But it can't happen in May. That was supposed to be the plan or so. But it can happen in May because, for one, February would have been Mikey Garcia versus Sergey Lempinets was supposed to happen February the 10th. They pushed it back to March the 10th because of an injury to Sergey Lempinets. So for them to fight in May didn't make any sense. But they are still on somewhat of a good timeline, to negotiate what's going to happen. Now, of course, Mikey Garcia has to beat Sergey Lempinets, and you have to think that since this fight against Jorge Linares and Mercito Gesta, January the 27th, rounded off to February. So basically, he's got to wait, over about a month, and about a week and a half or so, to see what happens between Mikey Garcia and Sergey Lempinets, and then they would have to go into talks, negotiations, and then if Linares versus Mikey Garcia were to happen, it will probably be maybe in June, or July at the latest. But Jorge Linares does have that other option out there of a big money fight with Luke Campbell if he decides to go and fight overseas again. Let's go look at the 135-pound division. As you can see, him and Mikey Garcia both share the WBC championship at 135 pounds. Literally, that's the best way to look at it. They're both champions. Yvonne Mindy, who beat Luke Campbell, right, could end up being the mandatory. And I wonder if Luke Campbell, if Jorge Linares versus Mikey Garcia happens or whatever happens and he doesn't fight Luke Campbell, I wonder if Luke Campbell's finally going to rematch him. Don't worry about Gervonta Davis being ranked up there. He's back at 130. And then if you look at the names, yeah, we could possibly see Jorge Linares versus Richard Comey. I would like to see that fight. But if you look at the other names outside of maybe a Hank Lundy, what other names could HBO pick up, or fights that fans would kind of want to see, or, somebody with a name, So, and if you look at the WBA, there's not no names there either that fans want to see. And you got Robert Easter, that's a wild card right there. What's Robert Easter going to do next? You got Ray Beltran, who's fighting Paulus Moses for the WBO 135-pound title that Terry Flanagan vacated to move to 140. So the 135-pound division is deep to an extent. But it's going to be interesting to see how the politics play in where Jorge Linares has fought on Showtime, you know, against Anthony Crolla, the first fight or the second one, I forgot. He's fought on HBO his last 2 fights. He's a Golden Boy fighter, co-promoted with Zanfer Promotions. And when you look at Ray Beltran, Poilus Moses, that's top rank ESPN. Bob Behrman, Golden Boy, been having some, you know, some issues. Robert Easter's been fighting on Showtime. He's the IBF champion. Mikey Garcia's been fighting over on Showtime and allegedly rumored to be paid $3 million plus to fight Sergey Lipinets to stay away from fighting Jorge Linares on HBO. More importantly, not fighting on HBO. You got Lomachenko, who's over on ESPN. Even Jorge Linares himself said that, you know, he has options with HBO and Showtime, you know, and he didn't really go into too much detail. Hold on, I'm looking for something for you guys. Give me 1 minute. I want to play this for you. Yeah, I'll do it this way.
What's a bigger fight for you, Mike? I'm not overlooking Gesta, but what's a bigger fight for you, Mikey or Loma?
Well, first maybe Lomachenko in 135, and then in 140, why not Mikey Garcia?
It looks like that's going to be maybe a little difficult, being that he might make a jump to 147 to fight Errol Spence Jr. If you caught wind of his desire.
I mean, no disrespect to that reporter, but it seems like Linares was about to go into some detail about the Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia situation until that other reporter jumped in, started asking about Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, of course, I'm sure there's some people out there that want to hear about that type of stuff. But anyway, I've already laid out the timeline. It's a shame that Jorge Linares didn't look good last night. It's a shame that the HBO card last night wasn't that good, especially for the first card of the year. But, you know, they usually make up for it. You know, it's crazy that HBO is getting a lot of shit right now because of that card and, you know, Showtime's announcement. But nonetheless, Showtime HBO gave us some big fights last year when you think about Cano versus Golovkin and both Ward versus Kovalev fights, even though if the last one was in 2016. Still, you know, you had the 2 Roman Gonzalez Sorong Visai fights. They signed Danny Jacobs, even though his first fight with Luis Aries over there wasn't that good. You know, we even had Golovkin Jacobs. So it's not like they're out of the game and they're just dying like people say. It's just that I noticed that they're more investing in big major fights and not necessarily developing stars to where they're more interested in signing up and broadcasting developed stars that are already developed or established. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.